The cream of the crop rose to the top on Sunday in Tampa Bay. We didn't expect it to go this way, especially when it was 10-0 Green Bay Packers over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the floodgates opened, and they stayed open to the tune of 38-10. Chris, we both went back and rewatched the game because usually we're processing about 1,000 things at the same time around 4 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. Was it as bad for Aaron Rodgers as it seemed?
Yes, it was. It was as bad. There's no doubt. And it is as bad as it seemed for the Packers football team as well. You know, again, I think there's a lot of things that are concerning when the big picture of the Packers, we're talking about Super Bowl contention and can they, beat the upper class of the NFL and the NFC and all those things. Yeah, I think there is some issues there. Hey, the first two drives of the game, they go down, they get 10 points. It looked like it was, like clockwork on TV. But when you watch on film, Mike, you realize it was Rodgers kind of extending plays, getting out of the pocket. It wasn't the offense delivering. He made a few plays by himself and hit some people down the field as he scrambled, manipulating the coverage, got the Bucs in blitz a few times, things like that. But after that, of course, he makes a mistake that we don't ever really see him make. And that put them in a tough spot. And then Davante Adams into a tight window, interception down to the 2-yard line. Rodgers, though, from that point on, just was not himself. He was not. And I think between the beast the Bucs have up front and being around him and collapsing the pocket and as fast as they are at linebacker, and then these DBs, as they settled in, they had no fear of the Packers wide receivers. Zero. You saw it on the first interception. Jamal Dean, he didn't move. He was just sitting there. He's going, Davante Adams, if he runs by me, I'll catch him. I'm not worried about it. And there was no fear there. And, yes, Rodgers was rattled. The offense was rattled. And they were really outclassed by the Buccaneers, in my opinion. Did you feel that way too?
Yeah, and on that first interception, I'd love to know what was firing through the synapses in Aaron Rodgers' brain because he gave the ball a quick pat. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Before he threw it, he gave it a quick pat, and he doesn't do that very often. And is he thinking, what the hell? Is he thinking, I got this? It was just kind of an odd little gesture because you juxtapose it against pick six. Everything seems normal. He does that quick pat, he fires it, and it's gone the other way, and it happened in the blink of an eye. And as he said himself, those don't happen very often to him, and they don't. That's what makes it so jarring. I watched that thing like 10 times, and it doesn't want to process because, Aaron Rodgers doesn't do this, but I kept seeing that little pat of the ball, and I just love to know what he's thinking in that instant where he gives it that quick pat and he lets it go because something went wrong there.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't happen to him.
I think it did, but you're right. It doesn't happen often. I think he was sitting there going, this guy, I'm going to pat the ball because once he sees Davante Adams another foot or two away from him, he's going to be scared he's going to run a go route, and he'll turn his hips and give me the out route. And Jamel Dean just said, no, I can kind of see you, and I can really run. He's really fast. And I think he just had a good look of where Rodgers was in the pocket, Davante Adams' body language. And then the big thing to me was, once Rodgers recognized it was tight coverage, he didn't throw the normal Rodgers. If he unleashed the rocket, maybe he gets it in there. But it's kind of like he tried to place it a little bit. He didn't just totally fire it. That was the one thing that jumped out to me. But that interception, Mike, we get the next one, which is a little unlucky, but it's Carlton Davis, who's another stud corner all over Davante Adams.
We've seen that flagged before.
Right. We have.
He had the arm around his back.
Yes.
And he was reaching over the front. We've seen that flagged.
Yeah, yep, you're right. But again, when you make a living throwing balls into tight windows like that, as they do so often, that's going to happen every now and then too, right? Happened last year, last play of the game against the Eagles. They tried to throw a slant like that down close to the end zone. Popped up in the air. I believe it was intercepted. So but I think the big thing to me more than anything is now it's 14-10 Bucs, right? And Rodgers has two opportunities to hit some big plays down the field. Aaron Jones drops a ball on the sideline that I think Rodgers could have thrown a little bit better. And then there was Mercedes Lewis wide open down the middle. And that was like the one and only point where you went, I think Green Bay could have maybe stolen some momentum back from the football game. And they were unable to there. And I think it was because Rodgers was, he was a little rattled by the pass rush. Of course, his mistakes. He's human that way. And from that point on, it was night-night. The Buccaneers just obliterated them from that standpoint and just physically pushed them around every which way they wanted to.
I want to give Carlton Davis some credit, though. I think he broke up the Aaron Jones catch on this. The one that was originally ruled a catch and then overturned.
Right.
I think Davis had something to do with that ball coming out. It wasn't just a classic drop, but then Rodgers did miss Mercedes Lewis. And as you're watching the game, and it's like how the book ends, but you still are working your way through the chapters to understand why it went the way it did. That was the first moment he seemed rattled to me, that drive. And why wouldn't he be?
Right.
2 interceptions, but everything's fine. It's 10-0. Hey, we're going to show Tom Brady. Oh, crap, it's 14-10. But he did seem rattled. And I think you're right. In the early drives, even though they scored, I think he got a sense this has a chance to maybe be a little more painful to me than normal games because I'm having to run away from some guys who are pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's right. And then they stopped that. They found a way to kind of keep him in the pocket. They collapsed the pocket. That's, again, they were able to collapse the pocket with 4 people pretty much all game long, an occasional blitz here and there. But as we know, against any great quarterbacks. And then Todd Bowles, he's very creative on the back end. He did some cool things that way. But overall, just watching back the game, it didn't make me feel any better about the Packers as a football team. It didn't. They have real flaws. Their offense, yes, it lacks weaponry when they get behind against the really good teams in football. This is where you go, I wish they would have drafted that receiver in the end of the first round. Because when they get in a game like this, maybe it would have helped to have, Justin Jefferson out there or some other top-end Chase Claypool, whoever it want. That would have made the Buccaneers have to think things over a little differently, how they wanted to play the football game. But, all in all, they have to play with a lead, and that's where it worries me for the Packers as they go forward. Because physically up front, they were not in the same class on either side of the ball as the Buccaneers.
Yeah, Chris, another key play came when it was 21-10, the drive before the Gronkowski touchdown that made it 28-10. Packers had the ball 3rd and 3 on their own 32. Levante David was shot out of a cannon to sack Aaron Rodgers, and it's like nobody even saw him. And there's a certain element of defensive design that is aimed at putting guys in spots where it's not expected they're going to blitz, but he just ran right by the left tackle. The left tackle focused on the defensive end. Levante David straight in, and down went Aaron Rodgers. That drive ends.
Yep.
And then it's 28-10, and once it's 28-10, that's that.
Yeah, well, that was that. You're right, that was. And Bowles does a great job of if you heard my clip before this, the illusion of complexity. Hey, 2 guys blitz, but 2 guys drop out. It confuses the offensive line, to where, the quarterback's not sure if he's protected. The offensive line's at a little bit of a disadvantage that way, too. You just don't know where it's going to go and all those type of things. But, yes, Rodgers was definitely feeling the pressure all day long. And Bowles and company do a great job of disguising and not tipping their blitzes. That's another thing that jumps out. Like, they don't – when Rodgers would do dummy snap counts, you know how we always see defenses kind of like jump or they show their hand like, he goes set, hot, and they move like, I was going to blitz. And now he's got you. You're coming. Okay, let me get in this play. He signals and you're screwed. Bowles didn't let Rodgers do that. That was a big part of the game. They stayed very still. He went through the dummy snap counts. They didn't move. And then when they knew, okay, we think it's real here, let's do it at the last second. But between that, Mike, and then, Brady and the run game having their way against that defense and everything like that, that's got to be discouraging for the Green Bay Packers football team too. And that's why I sit here and go, I'm not saying they're the best team, but the Bucs are definitely in the conversation for the most well-rounded football team in the NFC, and they're still a work in progress. And I wouldn't be shocked in 3 or 4 weeks if we were saying, no, the best team in the NFC now is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
One other thing I noticed before we talk more about the Tampa Bay offense and specifically Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
On the late hit call on Ndamukong Suh late in the first half, and we only see flashes. We see moments based upon how they go from camera to camera during the broadcast. But, Suh just commits a late hit on Aaron Rodgers. And I'm just making an observation. I'm not suggesting there's any type of an issue whatsoever. I just thought it was unusual. Billy Turner, the right tackle, goes up to Suh and is laughing. Isn't that a moment where you go up to Suh and push him or shove him MF him or something. You know, he just took a late hit on your quarterback. I just thought it was weird to see Billy Turner laughing, smiling, jovial with Sue after Sue took a late hit on Rodgers. Am I off base?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Mike, I thought the whole Packers football team was like that in the game the other day. Like, just a little too, like, oh, relaxed, and we're Green Bay, and this is going to be a fun show today against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay was serious and mad as hell. They weren't, like, you know, smiling and laughing. Brady wasn't, like, joking with defensive linemen and doing any of that. You know, so that to me is where maybe, like, when Rodgers after the game is going, maybe we needed this wake-up call. Maybe we were just thinking we're like that. That was what I took it as, because I felt like they were there to put on a show, and the other team was there for battle and to prove a point, to go like, hey, we just lost and we're every bit as damn good as you, and we might see you again here later on this year, and we're gonna let you know we're a force to be reckoned with. But the attitude, the toughness of the the Packers, it got exposed by the Bucs a little bit on Sunday.
Remember Zadarius Smith
with
us at the Super Bowl talking about the NFC Championship game?
Right.
There's something misfires for this team when they go on the road for big games, and they haven't fixed it.
No.
As good as they are the rest of the time, they go on the road for a big game, and there's something that just doesn't work. And Zadarius Smith talked to us about that very candidly, and I think we saw that play out on Sunday against the Buccaneers. Chris, before we get to the Goats in a Bad Way draft for Week 6, Tom Brady in that performance on Sunday. You know, we talked a lot about Aaron Rodgers not looking all that great. How did Brady look to you?
Well, Brady I thought looked really, really good. I don't care what the stats say or anything like that. You know, the game wasn't there to be like just opened up, throw it all over the field. But what I'm encouraged by the Bucs in general, like Bruce Arians and company didn't just, no risk it, no biscuit. We're going to let Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith rush us, and we're still going to throw the ball down the field. They managed the game and got a feel for the game, and then got the game the way they wanted to, and then Brady dissection started. I mean, the amazing thing about Brady is you just get him inside the 10-yard line. It's almost like sometimes you're just going to go, just like forget it. He's going to throw a touchdown pass. Forget it. Let's move on. But they got Gronk going, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin weren't even healthy. I mean, they weren't even themselves. So that the Buccaneers, their potential is really special. And I think Brady and the offense are really starting to mold together really nicely to where, it can be real special here in a few weeks.
First half, Gronk, the catches he made, even the touchdown catch, he still had that look of a guy who doesn't have his legs back. Second half, I think it was the first drive, 31-yard catch down the middle. That was the first time he looked like the old Gronk to me. That was
Agreed.
the first time all year.
Agreed.
And that's a good sign.
It definitely is. He was definitely, as you have said, he was out of the mud a little bit in this game. It was at least dried mud, and he did look better and like a little bit more explosive. And, hey, getting a few catches, getting the touchdowns, I'm sure that'll take a little bit of the pressure and make things a little bit better for him, too, to where he's a little more free to go out there and let it fly next week, too.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.